What's going on, my friends? This is Dustin Stelzer with Electrician U. Today we are going to talk about tips for residential remodels. All right, so a lot of people do remodels out there. If you're not familiar with the trade or you're new, there is the whole new construction side and there's the whole maintenance side of things. But there's kind of this in between too that a lot of the new construction people end up doing, but sometimes some service people might also get into, and that is the remodel. So a remodel is essentially where you have something that's an existing structure. Maybe somebody lives in a house, they're remodeling your kitchen, whatever. They're just redoing things. So a lot of times like walls get ripped out and you've just got crazy wires hanging all over the place. So recently I did a job where we had to go and remodel the entire electrical, most of the house. I would say probably like 3/4 of the house was getting redone. So they had already torn out all of the drywall for pretty much the entire place, but they did leave some drywall because they're like, we don't want to have to redo anything we don't need to do. So I figured I would just take this time to give y'all some tips or some kind of methodologies, things to think about when you're doing a remodel. So what do you do when you've got wires just hanging everywhere? This is going to be something that we get calls on all the time. Like somebody started ripping walls out and they've just got these like wires hanging everywhere, going from places where there are not going to be walls anymore, but they didn't want to touch any of the wires, so they just like kind of cut the wood around the wires and left all these wires hanging. So a lot of the time as an electrician, we get called in at this point. It's like, hey, we already did all this demo. Will you come and look at everything? And you come in and you're like, Jesus, there are wires everywhere. And you guys didn't leave any of the boxes or switches or anything. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. A really good general contractor or handy person, when they're tearing stuff out, they know enough to leave the boxes, leave all the devices, leave everything the way it is and try to remove things around it, but not always. Sometimes you have people that just go through and like cut everything. So in the case where everything's already together, that's pretty easy for you to diagnose things and try to figure out where your home runs are and where your three-ways are and switch legs and incoming hot, outgoing hot, all that stuff. So the big thing when doing a remodel is that you need to identify your knowns. When you have a situation where they didn't do that and people literally just cut all of the wires, that sucks. And you know, it takes longer to do all of that stuff. So for any of you handy people out there or general contractors, please, if you're doing stuff, leave all the devices attached. You can remove all the structures, do all that stuff, but it makes it way easier for us if everything is still intact, because then we know what wires are what's going where. But once you start hacking through stuff, it takes us time to have to go chase things down. And a lot of times we can't see through a wall, or we can't see something that goes up and down into a different wall and a different floor. And then if you cut the wires way too short, we can't do anything with them. So like it creates way more time. It's much more expensive if you do that. So just leave everything intact. So what do you do as an electrician when you got all these wires hanging everywhere in a remodel? Well, the first thing is you need to be able to identify what is what. So let's just say in our case that we do have a whole bunch of devices everywhere. Boxes are still hooked up. We can kind of see things. Well, it's pretty easy for you to look at a single gang switch and realize like, all right, well, there's probably one of those wires that's coming down low. That's probably an incoming hot. There's another one that goes up somewhere else. That's probably an outgoing hot. And then we have a switch leg, and there's one that kind of goes in the direction of whatever the light is, you know? So you can kind of visually check things out and slowly begin to take things apart and test what they are. Now, it's really important for you to start identifying things and taking a marker and actually writing on the conductors what's what. It's just gonna help you keep track of stuff, because when there's tons of wires hanging out everywhere, it can get to be a little like nerve-wracking, because you don't really know what's what. And when you have tons of stuff hanging everywhere, what you need to do is just take small things, little things here and there, whatever your like obvious knowns are, start removing things from the equation. And that's going to clean up the leftover wires that you've got hanging everywhere for you to be able to identify and work with a very small amount of things. So I would always take the most complex, zoom into one area, and start doing the easy things, the things that that you know So that way you can kind of leave the things that you don't know for the very end once you've removed 80% of the just junk that you don't need anymore. Now, I recommend people don't just go through and start cutting stuff. So if you're the electrician, like I just said, don't do if you're a handyman or a contractor, is don't just walk up with your tools and start snipping stuff and cutting things. I would check and like actually take the devices apart, take each conductor apart, label things as you're going rather than cutting. Because once you start cutting, you have no reference inside of that device box to know what conductors are what anymore. So it's always a very noob mistake to just go up and start cutting stuff. Obviously, there could be, breakers on still too, so you end up having the added risk of just blowing up a set of linemen's or side cutting pliers. So you always want to shut everything off, right? So like make sure when you're going and doing stuff, before you start cutting, before you start ripping things out, make sure that the breakers are all off. But this is kind of at the point where you're at, you're gonna need power to still be on so that you can go and shut breakers on, turn breakers off, just so you can see what controls what. Because a lot of times you're gonna run into a remodel where the panel schedule is not labeled, or things are labeled really weird, or you'll go to shut something off and it's labeled for the thing, but it doesn't actually shut the thing off. So you kind of have to go back and forth, turning power on, turning power off, and it's really helpful when you have a second person. So if you have an apprentice, more than likely you're gonna have your apprentice go over to the panel, start shutting things off, turn things on, while you're gonna have your meter, and you're gonna be testing to make sure that certain things are coming on and coming off. So anytime that you're working and disassembling things, taking things apart, always make sure that the breaker is shut off before you start disconnecting all of that stuff. Now, once you've gotten all of the kind of like random clutter out, you've got little hot jumpers and things that you can definitely remove, and you know that you don't need anymore. The whole point is that we're trying to get as little conductors here as possible. So in the job that I'm on, I'm trying to get it just down to home runs. I'm getting rid of literally everything because there's all new walls, all new rooms everywhere. They're repurposing all kinds of stuff. So basically, we're tearing everything existing out of this, except for we're going to keep the home runs, because in our situation, it's okay that we're going to use that existing panel with the breakers, and we're going to try to utilize as many of the home runs as we can without having to go rip everything out and replace them to the same places. So I always try to get the home runs pulled back so I can see, all right, well, I've got this one's like 20 feet long, so I could probably reuse this home run over here and drop it in this thing. This one is only like 5 feet long, so I might actually have to replace this entire home run. But if you got like 40 home runs that you could reuse, like there's really no problem in doing that. Now, after you've gotten all the stuff removed, like in our case, I have just home runs hanging out, that's it. There's a couple of three-ways that went from like downstairs by the front door all the way upstairs, so the existing sheetrock is staying up. I don't want to have to redo any of that. I just want to use those conductors, so I left those conductors in. But I don't start nailing up and putting any kind of wires or new boxes or anything until I've gotten everything figured out. Once I have everything figured out and I know what my existing system is and what I'm using as a part of the old existing wiring, then I will start adding new wiring. So I'll go through and start boxing new boxes up. I'll start running new conductors, but I don't want to do that in the middle of things, because you might end up with a conductor somewhere that you think you're going to use, that you're not going to use, that you thought was something and you labeled it that, and then you realize you were way wrong and you've already spent all this time and money going and wiring over to this place. So it's a really good idea to just make sure that all of your unknowns are removed, that you've got all knowns throughout the entire place, and you know what you're going to be using before you start nailing up new boxes and putting new wire in. Another thing that comes up from time to time is wires that are too short. So you might have a contractor that came through and just started cutting stuff, and all of a sudden they cut through a bunch of your conductors up at the top plates. You can't even like get any slack to do anything with. And then you have to go to another part of the house that was not supposed to be part of the remodel and cut some sheetrock to try to see if you can find that conductor. So cutting conductors too short, definitely don't do. Always leave them as long as possible, because sometimes too, you're gonna want something to reach, but you already cut it like 10 feet off of it. So it's like, oh crap, now it's not gonna reach anymore. So always, try to leave as much slack as possible when you do everything, when you're cutting conductors. But if you do have some conductors that are too short, you can either remove them completely and run all new home runs, say this is a home run that we're talking about, or you can make the call that like, maybe I can use this conductor and put it in a junction box that's accessible. Maybe I can put it in a box where maybe we can put a smoke detector up in a certain place or something like that. So sometimes you just have to make judgment calls based on if you think that you can make a short conductor work for something, or you can make joints within something that is completely accessible. Be careful with doing this in recessed cans because there's some language in code where that is not an accessible space. All right, so what does it say about putting junction boxes up in ceilings, or maybe using like a recessed can junction box as a way to make a joint so that way you can kind of hide it and utilize a short section of conductor. So if you look under luminaires, which is 410, we've got 410.118. It says access to other boxes. This is new. Luminaires recessed in ceilings, floors, or walls shall not be used to access outlet, pull, or junction boxes or conduit bodies, unless the box or conduit body is an integral part of the listed luminaire. So if you have a can housing with a junction box attached to it that is a listed luminaire and it's built into it, then yes, you can use this as a junction box for conductors like that. But what you can't do is just throw some kind of box up there and wire it to a light and then say, well, it's accessible and I have this box up here that's just going to remain accessible. You can't do that. This is a new section of the 2020 National Electrical Code. And then another tip that I think is really important, kind of along that whole thing, is knowing what part of drywall is going to stay in this job and what parts are going to be removed. A lot of times a general contractor will decide to keep certain drywall because he's trying to save money, doesn't want to have to do any more drywall than necessary. So just knowing like what is okay to cut, what's not okay to cut, and then just try to not cut anything in places where they don't want to make patches. Sometimes you're not gonna have a choice. You cutting a small little hole is kind of an easy patch for them to make. You cutting, floor to ceiling, even though it's a small patch, like they're still gonna probably have to put an entire new sheet up rather than sit and try to float that little patch. So just think about that while you're doing remodels. Always wanna pay attention to what drywall is going to stay there and what is okay for you to cut through. And in worst case scenario, just ask. Now, once you're getting done for the day, you've gotten all this stuff figured out, you feel really good about it, it's really important to make sure that there's nothing live when you walk off of a job. You don't have conductors that, because you guys were going back and forth and turning breakers on to test things and see what circuits are what, make sure everything is capped off, make sure everything is safe. Worst case scenario, some kid comes through or husband's walking through and catches his arm on something, unravels it and gets shocked because you left something kind of loose hanging out of the ceiling. Don't do that. Make sure all your stuff is secured. A lot of times these are people's homes that they're still living in, or they might not be. They might be staying at a hotel, but they're just coming in to check your work and see, how far they get. I'm really excited. And then something like this happens. So just make sure that you always cap off everything. Make sure that if there's any doubt about it whatsoever, just go into the panel, remove the cover, take the home runs off the breakers. Like that's probably the safest thing to do. But again, remodels are kind of just weird situations, right? Like every remodel is going to be different. Sometimes you might have to leave power on for something. So that's my next tip. Make sure before you leave that you've checked with either the GC, general contractor, or the homeowners to see, is there anything that we need to make sure stays on? Is there any lighting around here that needs to stay on? Are there any receptacles that we need to make sure are like temporary power that can be used for all the other trades? But you don't want to just like assume, I don't know, that they're not using their kitchen. They might need the microwave or something like that. So it's always a good idea to ask, is there anything that we need to leave live? So when we leave, we're not like screwing you out of your living situation. And a lot of times you'll get callbacks, right? You like go drive an hour home, you get home and then your boss calls and it's like, hey, they say they don't have power to anything down there, and you got to run all the way back down there and kind of close up what you were doing because you didn't think about it when you were down there. And then the last thing is clean up after yourself. Like this should just be a no-brainer. This goes for all trades. Any of you, if you're a plumber, HVAC, general contractor, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're in somebody's home, you're doing a remodel, clean up after yourself every day before you leave. It's gonna make you guys look so professional if you take the time, sweep up. Doesn't matter if it's like, oh, we're coming back tomorrow, doesn't really matter, nobody's gonna see it. Your judgment call, I suppose. I think that it's the professional thing to do. Just makes you look really good, makes you look like you're considerate and that you are professional and that you're worth what you're charging these people. When you take the time to take a dustpan and a broom and literally clean up everything so that when somebody walks in, they couldn't even tell that you were there. because you didn't leave a mess. And lots of people complain that there's tons of people out there doing work that they're just messy. They leave crap everywhere, they leave tools everywhere, and it's just, it looks chaotic when you walk into a job site. Plus it's unsafe because if you're leaving like, you know, materials for people to trip over, it's just, that's shoddy, right? So do your best work every day. Be proud of what you do. Be professional. This is a dangerous craft, but it's also a really, really specialized field that we're in. And so if we're always trying to elevate our skill and trying to be better and be as professional as possible, it's just going to be better for everybody around, all the customers, all of the job, you know, GCs, and all of the electricians and people that you work with. So do your best work, clean up after yourself. And last thing, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. It super helps me out. Hit the thumbs up if you really like these videos. Hit the notification bell, let you know every time I do a new episode, which is every Monday and Wednesday. And then make sure that you go to Discord, join the Discord server, or Facebook if you're more of a Facebook person, but there's thousands of electricians in these groups helping each other out. Go to Reddit if that's your thing. You can post all kinds of funny, crazy stuff. And probably the beginning of the year, I'm gonna start going through Reddit and doing React videos. And then I have a contest coming up. So right now it is November, it's almost Thanksgiving 2021. And this Christmas, I'm gonna do a really big giveaway. So make sure that you are subscribed to this channel so you don't miss out. There's a bunch of like vendors that have given me tons of tools to give away. There's gonna be some Electrician U merch. There's gonna be all kinds of stuff. I haven't done a big giveaway since I would hit like 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. So now that we're at like 300 and I don't know, 20 or wherever we're at, we're gonna do another really big giveaway at the end of the year. And there's gonna be a ton of new stuff that's going on with Electrician U once 2022 hits the corner. So make sure you're also on Instagram following me. A lot of the contests and giveaways and stuff that I do is on Instagram. So enough blabbering at you. I love you crazy people, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Disconnect music and video.